Welcome to Hannity. A ton of breaking news this Monday. All right, tonight, economic insanity, border chaos, Democrats in disarray. We'll bring you the very latest from the Bob Menendez bribery charges and, of course, the Joe Biden issue we'll get to in a second. Also, today, huge news, game-changing updates as it relates to the Biden bribery and money laundering scandal allegations and Biden's weaponized DOJ. New evidence coming out today. We'll break that news. And then later, it is very important in terms of an election year, especially for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin will join us with the details straight ahead. And are Virginia legislative changes in the near future? What would it mean? What would it tell us maybe about 2024? Also tonight, a big announcement, the red state versus blue state debate, hosted by yours truly, between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, is now officially on. We've got details at the end of the show. But first, bad news for your president, Joe Biden. He is now polling worse than ever, losing to Donald Trump by a whopping double digits. Biden is now down 10 points in a brand new ABC News Washington Post poll. And as much as Democrats and the media mob would like to pretend that it's just an outlier, well, the last 8 polls showed Donald Trump in the lead, or at least tied with Biden in a hypothetical matchup. In multiple polls, Biden's approval is at an all-time low. Even Democrats are deeply unhappy with the 80-year-old who now occupies the White House. Take a look.
There's clearly a lack of enthusiasm about the president himself, because we asked primary voters on the Democratic side, do you want options next year besides Biden? 59% said yes, they do. This is not a normal number for an incumbent. We asked the same question a year before Donald Trump sought re-election of Republicans. Only 37% wanted more choices then. That's a very high number.
That's MSDNC. Now, when you lose, let's see, David Ignatius, Washington Post, Maureen Dowd, New York Times, Liberal Joe. You lose, let's see, Van Jones, James Carville, David Axelrod. You're in trouble. Biden's support now collapsing among several key demographics. That includes young voters, Hispanic Americans, African Americans. I wonder why. Take a look.
Two of the great artists of our time representing the groundbreaking legacy of hip-hop in America, LL Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs.
LL Cool, and refers to him as boy. Okay. Earlier in the week, Biden confused the Congressional Hispanic Caucus with the Congressional Black Caucus during a speech honoring the Hispanic Caucus. Now, before that, he told the exact same story twice in a mere matter of minutes during a fundraiser. What is that indication of? Let's think. Not difficult to figure out. He also got lost on stage during an appearance with the Brazil president, forgetting to even shake the guy's hands, just walking off into nowhere land. Obviously, Biden's age, his cognitive decline is a top concern among Democrats and, frankly, among every American. We got every week he brings more shame, more embarrassment to the Democratic Party and, frankly, to the country. And as the 2024 election is now approaching, new political threat is on the horizon. As Newsweek put it, quote, Joe Biden's nightmare election scenario might in fact be coming true as Biden struggles, well, possible third-party candidates like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Cornel West, they're gaining momentum. According to a recent poll, a third of Democratic voters say they would vote for RFK Jr. if he runs as a third-party candidate. There's also concern, the, quote, no labels party, led by West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. They could also run Biden's chances or ruin him, in a sense, for re-election. Needless to say this, you can feel an overwhelming sense of anxiety and, frankly, dread from the Democratic Party. And don't expect Kamala to replace Joe at the top of the ticket. Listen to James Clyburn this weekend. Does this sound like a real vote of confidence for her?
Let's turn to Vice President Harris. Do you see her as the future of the Democratic Party?
I see her as a part of that future. Absolutely.
Is she the future, though? Is she the future of the Democratic Party?
Oh, she could very well be. It's not a given. You don't automatically move up. She'll have to compete going forward with whoever may have dreams and aspirations, and I think she will acquit herself well.
Not a given, huh? Okay, this after the very tepid support of Kamala Harris from, well, yet another top Democrat. Take a look at this.
Is Vice President Kamala Harris the best running mate for this president?
He thinks so, and that's what matters.
And by the way,
Do you think so?
she's very politically astute. I don't think people give her enough credit.
But do you think she is the best running mate, though?
She's the vice president of the United States. So when people say to me, well, why isn't she doing this or that? I said, because she's the vice president. That's the job description. You don't do that much.
He thinks so, and vice presidents basically do nothing. So Democrats are unhappy with both Biden and Harris. Now, there are very real fears that they will lose in 2024, and they're justified. Now, literally, the country is an entire mess. Biden's act, frankly, is beyond anything we can comprehend ever happening. And, loving middle-class family man Joe has simply collapsed. The image has been shattered. The illusion has been shattered. Now, Americans see Biden for who he really is, a morally corrupt liar, willing to even disown his own 4-year-old granddaughter for political gain, allegedly used his struggling son as a bagman to collect, tens of millions of dollars for the family business. By the way, coming up tonight, too, Miranda Devine will join us with a new report on how Biden's weaponized DOJ helped shield the president and his son from legal scrutiny while aggressively pursuing legal action against Biden's chief political rival. That would be Donald Trump. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.